as you know, there was an update from PlayStation Studios. All right. Let's read the update. The update
You don't
is
say.
it's an internal email from Herman Hulst.
What could it be?
Let me ask you a question. I just want to know. If Sony Interactive Entertainment publishes on their website an internal email from Herman Hulst, is it in fact an internal email, or is it just a letter that they fucking release to everyone regardless? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But remember, Herman Hulst, CEO, Studio Business Group. He's in charge of all the studio and their business. All right. So, dear team, today I want to share some important updates from Sony Interactive Entertainment Studio Business Group. We consistently evaluate our games portfolio and status of our projects to ensure we are meeting near and long-term business priorities. Let's take a pause for a second right now. That statement right there, that statement that we just read tells you that no matter how long a game has been in production, there is no guarantee that motherfucker is going to come out.
Yep.
Because they are consistently evaluating their game portfolios and status of the project. So even if things are looking good, if for whatever reason things go south, night, okay? Just to be clear. As part of our ongoing efforts to strengthen SIE studio business. Now, why would they need to strengthen something that's strong? Got it. Because it's not strong. Just double checking. We have had to make a difficult decision relating to two of our studios, Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios. Expanding beyond PlayStation devices? Interesting. Where's all of the articles written about this line that Herman Hulst just said? Expanding beyond PlayStation devices. PlayStation devices. Beyond PlayStation,
what
which
other
means
devices can you guys think about?
Moving beyond PlayStation.
Let's see.
They were already on PC. They're already there. So
they're going to Switch.
They're already on Switch, essentially. That's already been announced in there. So expanding beyond PlayStation devices. I'm just saying this is the mental gymnastics that they want to take too, right? Right? Well, Satya said that they're going to keep expanding. Interesting. Motherfuckers can only read words when it's Xbox saying it, but when PlayStation says it, what do you mean? I see nothing. I see nothing. See money. See money is such an Xbox. I just see nothing. It's your glasses. See money. It's your glasses. That's why. Fuck you, man. Look at it. It says it right there. Expanding beyond PlayStation devices. Okay. It's mumble, see money, motherfucker, mobile. Come on, man. And crafting engaging online experiences alongside our single player games are key focal areas for us as we evolve our revenue streams. Interesting. Where do they currently have revenue streams? PlayStation, PC, and soon to be Nintendo.
I mean, the game is out for pre-order already for Nintendo. It's coming out soon. So let's
Guess they're trying to evolve their revenue streams and start including Xbox in a major way. Got it.
What is left?
Got it. Makes sense to me. Now, this is it. This is where I need you, ponies, to understand. They're not hiding shit from you. They're telling you to your face, they're broke. They cannot afford to just be all nilly-willy with their money. He says right here, we need to be strategic, though,
Oh,
in
damn.
bringing our games to new platforms. To new platforms. And recognize when our games fall short of meeting player expectations. While mobile remains a priority growth area for the studio business, we are in the very early stage of our mobile efforts. To achieve success in this area, sure, you do have the plan, Herman. We all believe you. Tell us, how are you going to achieve this? We need to concentrate on titles that are in line with PlayStation Studios' pedigree and have the potential to reach more players globally. Okay, I understand. So you're right. When you go ahead and look at the mobile store and you go and click top sellers and number one by revenue, all you see there are PlayStation Studio like games, right? Guys?
Yes.
Is that correct? When you go on mobile, the top games, the ones that have the most success, they're all PlayStation type games.
Exactly. Let them head in that direction.
Wow.
That's exactly what they should be doing. This is the
Herman
thing.
is a
this
genius.
Is the problem.
Yeah,
he is the problem.
He's so smart. He closed down their mobile studio that they're trying to.
That's not made a mobile fucking game.
Yeah, that Neon Koi was their mobile studio, but they're trying to grow in mobile.
Well,
you're in the early stages, you guys. So
yeah. It's only been like 48 years, but sure. All right. So to achieve success in this area, we need to concentrate on titles that are in line with PlayStation Studios' pedigree and have the potential to reach more players globally. With this refocused approach, what was the previous? What are you talking about? Have they not been? Okay, sure. With this refocused approach, Neon Koi will close.
all this talk about mobile, and then boom.
With this refocus, we're going to close our mobile studio.
That we're going to shut this bitch down. If you are on the freaking early stages, very early stage of our mobile efforts, right? Early stages. So we decided that we're just going to shut down the studio. So what's going on with the efforts? They're not coming
refocused.
Through?
They're refocused now.
Got it.
Refocus. So
damn.
They say Neon Koi will close and its mobile action game will not be moving forward.
Wow.
I want to express my gratitude to everyone at Neon Koi for their hard work and endless passion to innovate. This motherfucker said mobile action game and then said endless passion to innovate. That feels like they were innovating in a major way. That's why they got closed, actually. Major innovators over there. Yeah, it didn't release the game because they were too busy innovating. You know what I'm saying? Innovation clearly equals being closed. Got it. Understand. Now, regarding Firewalk, I like how he brings that up. Like we're closing this one now. Regarding the other fucks, right?
Let's move on to the next one. We're shutting down. This is wild, bro. Like if they were that passionate and innovative, they would not be getting shut down. Call it like it is. They did not go ahead and meet your expectations. Like, what is it? Something went wrong.
Well, Doodle, they did hard work and endless passion. You know what I'm saying? To innovate. So, that's just what it is. Regarding Firewalk, as announced in early September, certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players. And as a result, we took the game offline. Let me understand something real quick. Certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players. So they're saying that certain parts of the game landed with a lot of players, but others did not land with enough players. That's a lie. Okay. Nothing landed with anyone.
The trailer.
Okay? There was nothing about the trailer.
Jiggly cheeseburger.
True. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Maybe that's the aspect that landed. Got it. Okay. So as a result, we took the game offline. we have spent considerable time these past few months exploring all of our options. Now, just to be clear, few months lets you know that they were definitely questioning this shit for a while, because when did the game come out?
August, right?
No, the beginning of, wait, was it the end of August?
I think it was the end of
So.
August.
The end of August. Okay, end of August, end of September, end of October. That's 2 months. But he said we spent the past few months exploring all of our options. So before the game launched, they already knew this shit was fucked.
I mean, they saw what was going on. They saw who showed up. They saw the pre-orders. The beta was out. It was, man, it was a desperate situation. It was just for pre-orders. Then for PlayStation Plus got added in there. Then what was the next step that they took? They took another one before they went ahead, but the beta was just open and no one showed up.
Well, there was the paid
It was
beta for
it was
being
only, yep,
and then they added the PlayStation Plus version.
Yes.
of
Yeah,
the
you had
beta,
to. Yep, exactly.
and then they did the
Open
other
it up to
betas.
Steam. Yeah.
And then
Yep,
they just open it up.
and nothing happened.
Yeah.
They knew this was coming. They knew it was going to get messy. They just they didn't want to keep on investing on a game that they just. I mean, what do you do at that point? You just watch it die.
Agreed.
I mean, they could have went ahead and said, right now, let's go ahead and put it on other platforms. They don't even want to bother with that. That can just be money going out that they'll never see again, and they've already invested enough.
Yeah, they're
The
not
game
taking any
wasn't
more
even
risks, bro.
worth going ahead and testing out to see if other platforms will receive it in a way that the ponies didn't, or a PC, right? It wasn't worth that. So
It was not, and that's the truth. So they say we have spent a considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. After much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. That's it. I want to thank all of Firewalk for their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication. The PvP first-person shooter genre is a competitive space with that's continuously evolving. And unfortunately, we did not hit our targets with this title. We will take the lessons learned from Concord and continue to advance our live service capabilities to deliver future growth in this area. So, just so I could understand,
go
the
ahead.
game failed miserably, didn't last 2 weeks. What can you take from the lessons learned from Concord? Not to use any of those characters, not to use that place, not
to
to
shut down the studio.
not to make a CG like fucking trailer, not to think that people give a fuck about your weekly videos that you're gonna put
Updates.
out for the weekly trailers that you're gonna drop, whatever the fuck.
When your beta only has 2,000 players, don't even release the game.
Facts.
True.
That's the lesson that should be learned.
100%.
They needed to put the game out there. They needed to go ahead and see what happened. They were not going to invest anything else on Concord, right? So if you're not going to invest, you can only say, let's hope for the best and just go ahead and fly. Let's see what you do. The landing wasn't great, guys. I'm sorry to tell you. So they had to pull the plug. But I think this was a matter of we're not doing anything else, no matter what. So do we go ahead and, pull the plug before it goes out and see and just not even give it a shot at the freaking L of over 400 mil? Or do we go ahead and see if somehow, the players were sick and just couldn't show up to the beta? And maybe it'll be different once the game releases. It's just it's sad, but this is their own doing. I don't think I'm with Hargi. Tell me the lessons that you learned. How are you going to move forward from this mess?
Yeah, I think this is basically, you should read between the lines. Haven, you're in trouble. That's what I see from that, but we'll see what it really means.
Do they have
'Cause
any
look,
other studios outside of Haven that are meant for this program? This
Marathon,
bullshit?
Fair
So,
Games.
Bungie. So Bungie's
and
fucked and Fairhaven's fucked. Who else?
so I'm not sure how true it is.
Horizon
but
MMO.
supposedly Bend is working on a multiplayer thing. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's
Jesus
a rumor
Christ.
that Bend is working on a multiplayer thing. So that's another one. And then, as we know, Gorilla is working on some Horizon, whatever, multiplayer or something.
You know what the funny thing is? Lawbreakers did better than Concord. And remember how much Cliffy B got dragged for Lawbreakers, and it outperformed Concord. So
That's wild.
I mean, there's a new bar now. Concord has achieved things that, no other game has achieved before. So,
Biggest
You know.
flop in gaming history.
Yeah, Gollum
Yes.
even did better.
the day before, when people knew it was a
That's wild.
scam, did better and lasted longer. Even.
Wow.
But you know what? The record didn't
Wow.
last long because Until Dawn broke it.
Well, they broke the
Until
amount
Dawn didn't
of
cost as
sales. It didn't cost as much, and you could still buy that game. You know what I'm
Still
saying?
out
And
there.
play it.
Bro,
but I hear you. This is a
And
pattern.
and to be fair, that's a remaster.
True.
True.
The game was already done. You're just getting it again. Supposedly looking better and working better.
Well, this isn't a
Ouch.
remaster.
But it wasn't on
over there at this
PC
point.
before, was it?
No, it's his first time on PC.
I think it wasn't right. I don't think it
Yeah,
was on
so
PC.
to them, it was a new IP. And that didn't go so great. Not at all. All right, so let's continue. He says, I know none of this is easy news to hear, particularly with colleagues and friends departing SIE. Both decisions were given serious thought, and ultimately, we feel like they're the right ones to strengthen the organization. Neon, Koi, and Firewalk were home to many talented individuals. Damn, were. You know what I'm saying? Damn. We're home to many talented individuals, and we will work to find placement for some of those impacted within our global community of studios where possible. Can I tell you something real quick? I'm going to read the rest of it, but just skimming. Notice they didn't say we're going to be giving them severance, that we're going to be
No.
taking care of them. No. He said we will work to find placement for some
Mhm.
of those impact, not all of them. They're not going to try with all of them. No. And many talented individuals, which means that they were also a bunch of people who were not talented. You get the words? You know what I'm saying? You see where he's going? It's like there was a lot of people who worked there who were talented. I mean, the other ones were a waste of fucking breath and life when it comes to making games, but shit, there was some,
Yeah.
some, and we're going to find placement for some of those.
Yeah, whoever packs
just
their
get-
desk the fastest. Oh man.
Oh my god.
It's crazy. But if something like this go back up when he says ultimately that this is the
Right here.
the right decision to strengthen the organization. Like if something like this comes out from Xbox, that would be wild. Anything other than we're freaking have their packages ready. We're so whatever. Like they're so talented. They're this anything but praise. Like it's such a rough decision to like anything other than that will not be accepted. So go ahead and say like this is what we need to do to strengthen our organization, which I completely understand. You have to let them go. This should not be a surprise in any way, shape, or form. Like this is what needed to happen. That's a lot of freaking money gone. What are you gonna do with that studio? Continue to supply? How do you trust them with money? You're gonna continue to supply them with money or tell me your next genius idea? Like, no. So this was bound to happen. Just, I don't know. It's a little messy. The letter's a little messy.
Oh yeah. This is just fucking mental gymnastics he's trying to do over here to try to make it sound like he's sad about this shit. He's like, finally, we got rid of these motherfuckers. These motherfuckers just draining our money. damn, they all suck ass. I mean, that's what I read. That's what I feel when I read this. I don't get this, all this fake bullshit. That's like saying, oh, it's not you, it's me. Like, no, motherfucker, it's you. I'm not getting rid of myself. I'm getting rid of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the problem, right? And that's the energy I get from reading this. When he says specifically the line you just said, baby, ultimately we feel like they're the right ones to strengthen the organization. That's like when you say, yeah, I just got to work on myself. You know what I'm saying? I just not going to be with anyone. I'm getting rid of you and work on myself. But I got another person over here that I'm going to be with in like 3 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the problem. This is the problem. This is where they are. They're not engaged.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, where's their next big hit coming from? Like,
That's a great question.
unless Lego takes off, I mean, literally, where's their next big hit coming from? I mean, because even if what's their name, Insomniac, even if they release Venom and Wolverine, we've seen that Disney is eating so much into, you know, the revenue of that game that it's hard to turn a profit. So even it's like, where's the next big game for Sony that we like that we haven't seen it like
Yeah.
at a
Ghost
show?
of Yotai looks kind of good, but like,
Is it a
it
big
didn't
hit
have the
though?
same impact.
It should be good
That's the
for
thing,
like a
right?
10 million plus range, or at least that's what the first one did. Hopefully they can repeat that
hope.
with Yotai, but
It feels like
obviously
the reception
Spider-Man,
was lukewarm though.
yeah. But like even like with Spider-Man 2, it didn't sell well enough for them to even do DLC for it.
Yeah.
Instead, they're going ahead and pushing it to PC in less than 2 years. So at the 15-month mark, it's on PC. So that clock is getting a little bit shorter each and every time. And if games are underperforming, maybe that DLC becomes a standalone kind of Miles Morales or, God of War Ragnarok kind of level, new title that hopefully does at least some numbers for them. But yeah, like you guys said, Disney and Marvel, they're eating up a good portion of the profits, and if they do a pack in, they're eating up even more, where they take some of that console sale profitability out as well. So we'll see.
So like, Blue Point, is that the one? Who's the one that did the Demon Souls remake?
Yeah, that's Blue
Point.
Point.
Yeah,
Blue Point.
Yeah, there was
They're
one. They
due
were the
for
ones
their
who were supposed to
game.
be making. Well, they were supposed to be making their game, but then we saw that list. If you
And then there
remember,
was something about them being folded into supporting other games, right?
yeah, they got pushed down,
like,
so they weren't a
okay.
main. Remember, PlayStation gave us an actual list, like directly saying like, what studios do we think are important, and which ones are like just mid, and then which ones are just support. And Blue Point, who was supposed to be making
Became
their own
support.
shit, got pushed
And
down.
then you've got Housemark, which I don't
They
expect them to
couldn't-
make
they
a
couldn't
big
make it.
game.
Bro, they couldn't.
So-
They've never made a game that made money. They always
So
make
I
things
don't-
that people like, but nobody buys them.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you take that, like, what? I mean, as we know, Sony San Diego will just keep churning MLB The Show. That's fine. Santa Monica just put out God of War. I don't know what they have next up their sleeve, but that might be years away.
Oh, remember Borlaug, Corey Borlaug?
Yeah, I was going to say they have a
making
second team working on a
his
smaller
sci-fi
game
or some shit.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
just
know
feels
where
like they're
that
very
is.
far away from a hit.
But yeah, like if you want like that big blockbuster thing, I don't know. It's an interesting one. This is their roadmap issue, right? Like, what do they have? It's a tough one.
That's
A
true.
lot of that, by the way, was supposed to
No.
be their multiplayer games that got canceled.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
it
the
went
thing,
from
right?
10 to 12 to 6 to who knows what now.
3, right? And one of them is dead. I mean, it's just like this. I don't know, man.
But this
They're
is the
not in
thing
good
about
shape.
the
That's just it.
games.
They're not in good shape.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this letter tells you
They're
they're
not.
not in good shape. I mean,
Yeah,
when
it
you only
does.
support a game for 10 days, 10, 12 days, that says a lot. I mean, Skull and Bones is an absolute flop and it's still being supported.
Bro, Bleeding Edge is still out. You can
Yeah.
still go
Yeah.
play right now Bleeding Edge online. They did not remove the servers. They did not take that game down. It's still there. Demo flow went live during the show. Search for a match, got in. Come on, man.
That's a passion
crazy.
project that didn't take 8 years and $400 million.
Exactly. It was a
to
handful of
make.
developers. Like,
And
whatever.
they spent the most of it before they got acquired.
Yeah, there's so
Right.
many live service
Um,
flops that are still out, and this game only made it 12 days.
the
Well, you know why?
What
Because
was
it's
the
embarrassment. That's the
Yeah.
reality.
what was that?
Remember
So Media Molecule, right? That team.
Dreams?
Dreams.
Was it Dreams, right?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
So they're
flopped.
supposed to be
next.
doing something, but
They're next, bro.
But-
they're gone.
like, do we
They're
think?
next.
Yeah, do we think they're gonna let them keep
No
working?
hits.
Like,
They're not making hits, bro. Gone.
so
Night-night.
they could be on the chopping block.
Honestly, there's not a lot. Like you got understand what Microsoft is doing. Like this is why we talk about this shit and why it's so important to understand. You guys think it's a fucking like it's like they're doing they don't know what they're doing or whatever the fuck or they can't compete with PlayStation. No, bro. They're doing smart business, okay? They're doing smart business. They're understanding that games like Call of Duty, which are revenue
Just
bringers
printing
every
money.
fucking year that print money, Minecraft, shit that just prints money every
Yep.
fucking day of their lives is a huge thing that's necessary in this market. You need to have something that's sustained. Why do you think the only big companies that exist are companies that magically have yearly franchises that release every year?
Or just ongoing live service games that just
Yeah.
Yeah,
keep
or
making
that too.
money.
But that's what I'm saying. So either games that keep going or games that they're
Yeah.
releasing every year. EA has it, Take-Two has it, Epic has it, right? Ubisoft, as much as you don't think they have it, they do.
They have a
Rainbow
couple.
Six Siege is
They have a
there,
couple.
right?
Yeah.
That's there. That is the difference. That is why publishers that are out that are not big, that is why they're not big. They're not big because they don't have a hit that keeps on hitting. Understand that not only does Microsoft has the hits that keep on hitting, they have more than one.
Hmm.
Like
They have
four-
more than one.
like 4 or 5. that are
Understand that.
active. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Blizzard has a couple, right? You have Call of Duty, you have Minecraft. Like, come on, they have it. They have it. And you know what they're going to do? As much as you guys don't want to hear it or see it, they're going to buy more.
Yeah.
They're going to buy more. That's
Don't
what
let
they
Game
want.
Pass hit 40 million with COD and Game Pass because
Bro,
it guarantees they're gonna buy
They're
somebody else.
going to buy more. They want that revenue that's guaranteed to come in. Whether it's Take-Two, whether it's EA, whether it's Epic. They're going to buy one of those people because they want the revenue, or Steam with the revenue they get from fucking
I think they need to pick
Steam
up
itself.
dude. Those exclusives that they have that people don't realize, like CS:GO is the
Mhm.
top played game, and you can take
Yep.
the next 5 games combined. They don't have the player base of CS:GO. It's ludicrous how many people play that game. And then you have like Dota, and that
Yeah.
new one's coming. What's it called?
Deadlock.
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 And that's looking like it's going to be a hit.
Yep.
I mean, if they
Like,
could purchase
yo, you-
Valve, if they could get it before the
then you
next
get the Steam store.
Xbox,
I'm just saying,
that'd be
like,
crazy.
That would
Yep.
be crazy.
But understand what we're saying, and this is why you guys think it's a fucking joke. What's up, Spartan 6 1? Fam? Fuck you. What's
Yo.
up, player? You guys think it's a fucking joke when we talk about Xbox doing this shit, but it's not. This is the reality of what they're looking for. They want to spend the money to get their gaming division fucking 100% solidified where it is on autopilot, and then everything they do elsewhere, everything outside of those games that are going to deliver every year, come out every year, hit every year, right? Everything they do outside of that is now insulated. They can still push the medium forward. They can still look like Xbox, the creative fucking
Yes.
publisher who puts out games that nobody else will. Why? Because no one else can take the risk like they can when they have all of these games that are hitting month in, month out, no
supporting
matter
everything
what.
else, supporting that creative process with all the other studios, right? You have that money coming in. It's in it when you break it down like this, it's just crazy that PlayStation's just trying to find that one, right? Just to like kind of break through, and they're having such a difficult time with it. Um, Man, it's just because the route they want to take, they just want to copy off of something else and say, voila, we did it. You can't come in like that. And the ones that they've chosen are just, you know, they're they're bleeding out, man. They're bleeding out. But you're right with this. This is why they can go ahead and get other. You got to feed Game Pass, right? You have to go ahead and have be able to go and explore with all these other games and be able to give games to every type of player while you still have that money coming in from a game like Call of Duty every year, right? So it's important what they're doing, and the fact that you know it's not easily seen, like, people are not picking up on it. These ponies think, "Oh, look, it's an L that indie's coming over here. We're getting freaking Call of Duty. They're out there paying and partying. We wanna buy it. We wanna buy it. I swear to you that I wanna pay $70 for it. I don't want it in Game Pass." It's just it's crazy, but continue to support. It's much appreciated.
So far, the Phil era has been, as far as acquisitions, a little bit better than Jim's. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They haven't had too much success on the PlayStation side, whereas, I mean, outside of Bethesda having to be called a little bit, it's been pretty good. Like all the
Yeah.
stuff that's coming out now in Exile, it's been, I mean, like that looks awesome. Clockwork. You got Compulsion with South of Midnight. I had very little expectations from that team, and that looks fantastic.
I got a dope ass post from them as well that we'll talk about, but I have a dope ass post from Compulsion.
Right? I mean, like so far so good. I gotta say, Double Fine's just fantastic as it is to me. Anyways, I love their games, so like that's an awesome.
And
one.
they nailed it. They nailed it with Psychonauts 2, right? Psychonauts 2 that you showed that they can play with the big boys in quality, right? Like high quality games, not just like niche quality, but high quality.
Showing up like it. It really looks a lot better than 2. Like all of them just seem to be like they seem to be good. Like Obsidian was always awesome anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the Playground, I'm like, you have to explain how they're good. Like, so they've been in pretty good shape. And Bethesda, I mean, that's a massive, awesome purchase. So just take id alone, and then you have the fact that you have Bethesda Game Studios, right, with Elder Scrolls and Fallout and Starfield. It just goes crazy. There's so much. We got Blade coming. Like, come on.
I think the big thing was back in the day, everybody was like, "Oh, Microsoft doesn't know how to manage their teams. Their studios are running amok." And it's like, yeah, maybe they should have looked at Bungie. Maybe they should have looked at a lot of PlayStation's recent acquisitions for the fact that a lot of them have closed. I would say out of Xbox, the only one that really closed was what do you call them? Well, 2. But it was like a split of Arcane and
Alpha
it was
Dog and Arcane Austin, yeah.
Yeah, and Alpha Dog, I don't even think Bethesda ever released anything through them. It was like whatever they did was before Bethesda, so they were kind of like in limbo from the time that Bethesda took them.
That mobile game, the Mighty
Alpha Dog.
Doom?
Alpha Dog was Mighty Doom, yeah.
Oh, okay,
this is a very small mobile developer, and
the game was actually good. I like that.
Yeah, but the thing is like they now have King. It just doesn't make sense to have a small little team when you could just say, why don't you guys take this over? Even if they want to do anything
continue to grow King out. You know what I'm saying? Like let King make those decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let me finish reading this. We stopped. I want to get to the whole thing. It says, I'm a big believer in the benefits of embracing creative experimentation and developing new IP. However, you heard the word. Listen to what he just said. God damn it. Why am I'm always right. There needs to be a slogan. I have to make it. It's true. It's the reality. He says, I'm a big believer in the benefits of embracing creative experimentation and developing new IP. You know how you tell somebody, I'm sorry, but You look pretty, but you're so smart. But okay, I believe in benefits of embracing creative experimentation and developing new IP. But I'm just saying, understand, scaling back. That's what they're doing. Creativity, dead and gone. Remakes, remasters, shit, sequels. Developing new IP.
That's what I was gonna say. Is how their next hit is going to be yet another remaster, yet another remaster, yet another. That's all you're going to see from them. They're just going to keep remastering.
What's the last new IP to come internally that they didn't buy?
Ghost of Tsushima?
No, I don't consider that internally. They bought the studio that was currently.
Well, I mean, they bought the IP as it was being developed, so I don't know if that counts or not.
Isn't Ghost the last one that released?
Yeah, I think Ghost was the last one that released in 2020.
Yeah, Ghost.
From inception to
release. I mean, again, I don't know if you count Housemarque with
I don't count those. I don't count those personally. Like, I wouldn't count Stellar Blade. I wouldn't count.
Well, Stellar Blade's not theirs. That's definitely not theirs. Rise of the Ronin is not theirs either.
Yeah, but I wouldn't count.
No, none of that shit is. By the way, we got some news about the Rise of the Ronin people. We're going to talk about that too.
Okay. I mean, internally, like the last one they had, if you want to count it as Concord, otherwise, you're probably talking Ghost.
Yeah, that's where I would go. I would go Ghost because they actually owned the studio prior to the start of that development. Like they bought Firewalk mid development of Concord. They bought
Fair Games, the same thing. They bought it as it was being developed.
They bought same thing with Housemarque. They bought it as it was being developed. Or actually,
I don't know.
I think more towards the
was
end.
Already in the works, probably. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think Marathon was probably already in the works too. So they haven't really cultivated a new IP, in a while. Days Gone and Ghost probably.
And then Last of Us.
I mean, listen, PlayStation 4 generation, they had a lot of new IP that came out.
Yeah,
so,
they did.
I mean,
but I'm saying
not only new IP, but well, I mean, again, 4 years ago was Ghost, right? And then before that, but it's only the PlayStation 4 generation. Everything that has existed from PlayStation is from that generation. Outside, the only legacy IP that they still currently have that is in active duty is Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
So I'll say there's two more. There's Knack and Astro.
Well, but Knack and Astro. Well, actually, I mean,
Astro's
Astro.
On the PS4.
Did he have a name when he was part of the PlayStation Eye camera? Because he was back on PlayStation.
He had a VR game on a PS4.
Yeah, it was Astro.
Yeah. That little robot he was on PlayStation 3 because of the little eye camera, right? There was a little game that you can play on there.
PSVR.
He was on PSVR for sure.
No, well, PlayStation VR was PlayStation 4, right?
Yeah.
We're talking PlayStation 3. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought he was part of the eye, like he had like a game or something. Remember that thing that people used to fuck on? You know what I'm saying? Like they had the eye camera for PlayStation 3 and they started doing crazy shit on there. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he had a name though at that point. I don't know if they were just like little robots that were part of it or not. I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I could have swore that it was something from that time. But outside of that, Knack is a PlayStation 4 generation company, IP, right? So that's not legacy. It's only Gran Turismo. That's the only thing that they have that they currently fuck with, which is crazy. Everything else is literally. Oh, I mean, I guess you can call God of War, but that was completely redone, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to give them that one, fine, I'll give them God of War. But that didn't last as the same type of game from back then. But outside of that, everything's from PlayStation 4.
But yeah, you were just asking.
And I would argue that
internally developed IPs. I'm just pointing out those were probably some, right? So
yeah, but that's crazy.
Back,
they have none.
Definitely had stuff before, and PS3 era. They definitely had a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
No. But I'm saying what's out now, nada.
That's still
relevant today.
PS5, it's been all remakes. It's all sequels. That's all they've really had.
The only new IP they really tried was Concord, and is dead and gone.
As I said, they're only AAA new IP. It's dead.
Dead and gone.
And that's
Dead
if
and
you
gone.
Killed a
count
lot
the
of
fact that they bought
IPs.
it, right? But
At this point, I feel like they would find a hit if they just made a game called Dead and Gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, just make the game, call it Dead and Gone.
Dead and gone.
And then that way, when it fails,
It's like we
it's
said
dead
it.
and gone. You know what I'm
in the
saying? Like, you don't even have to.
So we
It was
meant to do, you
foreshadowing.
guys.
A little foreshadowing.
so,
But
look,
But
I
again-
don't know. Well, hopefully they can turn it around. But like from this verbiage, what I'm seeing is there's going to be less investment in
Well,
new stuff.
that's the problem. So looking again, remember that big but, right? So
Mhm.
I am a believer of creativity, and new IP, but going through sustainable financials. Now, let me ask you a question. Is somebody who's fucking killing it out here in these streets going to be talking about how desperate they are to have sustainable financials? Listen, obviously everybody wants that, but in
Mhm.
this letter that you're saying we're getting rid of these people, and you're like, man, we down bad. You know what I'm saying? We had to
Yeah.
get rid of them, dog. Right? Like, this is not a good look, right? But growing through sustainable financials, especially in a challenged economic environment, is critical. It's funny because Madden doesn't seem to struggle through this critical economic situation, or neither does NBA 2K. It's funny. That seems to
Yeah.
be not having any problem with the economic environment that they're in. It's
Games are
funny.
selling, just not on
Just not
PlayStation,
yours,
not
bitch.
their games. I mean, Call of Duty is, but
That's an Xbox game. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
I'm
So
curious.
Maybe part of it is the fact that they are the ones that really push that $70 threshold and only do nowadays. They mainly do single player. They don't sell what some would call a complete game where it's single player and multiplayer under the same title. And at $70, some people may not see the value. I know there are plenty of Team Blue people out there that are like, "Oh, I'll pay $100 and it's worth the value. It's greatness." But it's like the average person, $70 when games went from 60 to 70, that I wouldn't say it was a breaking point, but it makes you think. It's like, well, do I wait for a sale or do I just get this title? It's only single player. Maybe I'll hold off. You know, if it was single player and multiplayer, okay, that's worth my 70, because at least if I beat the single player part, I get the multiplayer to fall back on, or vice versa. So,
well, plus you can play the multiplayer immediately, right? And
Yeah.
you have
Agreed.
friends, you
Now-
want to play that.
it's true. They're taking more out of the games, right? They're giving you less and they're charging you more. And isn't it ironic that they were the ones to go ahead and try to do this, and charging the $70 and they can sell freaking games for
Well,
that like, it's crazy.
So, I think the reason they went 70 is because they saw that less people were buying games anyway. Right. And I think they realized that there's a certain amount of people who are going to buy that game, and they rather get that $10 extra from them than worry about the manufactured, idea of how many people would not buy it. Right. Like, they don't know that number, but they do know how many people will buy it pretty much. Right. And that's why they raised the price. Honestly, you heard what's his fucking face? The old PlayStation dude that he's been talking shit a whole bunch lately. Sean Layden. You heard him, right, bring up the idea that, I mean, he didn't really say these words, but if you kind of take what he said and kind of bring it down to like what he's trying to say, is I think that you're going to end up, like, what he's trying to suggest, I think is pretty true. I think they're going to go up in price. I think what's going to happen is that you're going to go and start getting into situations where, because I think he specifically talked about like the amount of time that you play in a game, like an 80-hour game, 100-hour game, right? He's saying that those games don't necessarily like make sense unless you're paying for it. And that is where the words from the Grand Theft Auto dude, 2K, Zelnick or whatever, talked about games being too cheap, right? And what I honestly think they're going to push this shit. Like, they're going to come out and be like, we're making a $90 game. Like, we're making a $100 game. I can 100% see it, because they know that there are a certain amount of people that are going to pay that. And they are betting that the people who are willing to spend 70 to get the game that they want are willing to spend 90 to get the game that they want. And I think if they come out with Grand Theft Auto 6 at $90 or $100, as much as people are going to talk shit and bitch and scream, they're still going to sell a shit ton. And I just think that that's a reality. I'm not saying it should happen, but I believe that they believe that that's what's going to happen. And that's why you hear Zelnick talking about it. That's why you hear this dude, Sean Layden, kind of bringing up the idea that price may need to scale depending on how big these games are. And I think you're going to see, man. Now, who's going to lead the way? I don't know. Who's going to be the first one to pull the trigger?
It'd have to be Grand Theft Auto. I think
Grand Theft Auto is the one
is.
that has the chance, the biggest chance to do it.
They can force the hand. People will show up. This is also going to, like, if this is the new standard, this is also going to affect a lot of games, right? If that's the new price mark out there.
I don't know if that'll be the standard. So
if
I
that's
think
the standard, they can't
I think
make
it's
it the
a
standard.
range. So I think their idea is that, hey, this game has 60 hours plus gameplay. That costs $100. This game costs 20 hours. I mean, has 20 hours of gameplay. That's your $70 game, right? I could just see it. I see the way they're talking about it. It just seems like they're going to do it. And the desperation that is coming from PlayStation, like I could see all this happening and Xbox still doing them, keeping the prices, normal and low for a while until enough time goes by. But I don't know. I feel like it's something that they're going to do.
I think that'll kill the single player AAA market. Absolutely slaughter it. Like JRPGs, Western RPGs, you're trying to charge $100, $110. Like imagine if Starfield's $110 game, in the future.
That would be crazy.
Because you do get those amount of hours out of the game. You can, very well justify you're going to get over 1,000 hours playing this game, so we can charge you 110. But it would just kill it. It would just kill so many other smaller.
It will
AAA
drive
games.
everyone to Game Pass.
Oh my God, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
This is all, as much it is going to be a problem. It is going to be a situation. I do see why a game like Grand Theft Auto would want to be out here at like $90, $100. I kind of understand that, right? I see them forcing the hand, but anything else is just going to go ahead and make Game Pass that much stronger. It'll drive people in that direction. That would be a bit much to ask for. Any other brand. Go ahead.
I kind of think, and this was actually, I think, I forget who it was in the community, but somebody had made mention of this prior as well. I think Grand Theft Auto might go a different direction. It'll still get $100 out of you over a course of a year, but I think they might go like the World of Warcraft route, where it's a subscription type of deal. There might be an upfront fee, maybe it's $30 or something like that to get the game, but they're going to make it extra grindy to the point where if you don't spend an extra 30 or 40, you're going to be a person living on the street, no car, no home, no nothing type of deal. Yeah. And that's where a subscription, like they've already tried it online with the VIP stuff, which people have balked at, but people have, paid up for that. I could totally see them doing a subscription thing themselves and have it where they get $10 or $20 out of you a month, and you get, a certain amount of cars or a certain amount of cash to buy houses or boats or
maybe they offer you like how some places like something you could do, like you can pay a subscription or pay for a lifetime subscription. So like they charge you $15 a month or $20 a month to subscribe to it, or you pay $100 and you get it forever.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, and to be clear, like I don't think that, number one, I don't think every game would ever qualify for this amount of money, right? Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think that's a possibility. But I do think that certain people like Sony might say, we're making a class of game that is like they're cocky and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they think that they're better. So we're making a top tier game. So our games have to be $80 or $90 or maybe deluxe. I mean, it's funny. We talk about this, but games are sold at $100 a lot, right? Because the deluxe edition is $100 and a lot of people buy deluxe editions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
sure. I'm one of them. I'm guilty.
We do it all the time. I mean, especially with Game Pass, right? We spend the extra $30. That's what it is, right? That's what we're getting. But I mean, again, I'm not saying that it should. I don't think it'll be great, but I think when you hear these people talking about this, like look at we stopped right with the however, but he continues growing through sustainable financials, especially in a challenged economic environment, is critical. Right? Sustainable financials either means they cut back a whole bunch or they find a way to make more money. Right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be a problem. Let me just finish this off so we can be done with it. It says, while today is a difficult day, there is much to look forward to in the months ahead from the studio business group and our teams. I remain confident that we are building a resilient and capable organization driven by creating unforgettable entertainment experiences for our players. Thank you for your continued support. Yeah, so that didn't, quite instill a lot of I don't know, faith,
reassurance.
No,
Yes.
I read that and I was kind of like, what made me the thought that came to my head is Hiroki Totoki really there to save PlayStation?
Continue.
I'm just
Elaborate.
I'm thinking that he's looking at these two CEOs that he appointed and he's telling them to shit or get off the pot. And if getting off the pot might mean, no PlayStation. At least not as we know it, not as we know it now.
Yeah, I feel like the brand cannot go away. That would be ridiculous for them to, especially when they just have a platform that we already know that statistically speaking, that like 90% of the people who own a PlayStation don't give a fuck about their exclusives, right?
Yeah.
That never ever buy their exclusives. So those people, for all intents and purposes, if they did not know that PlayStation was no longer making exclusives, right? There's still that amount of people who will just buy a PlayStation because they don't think about it. They don't look at the hobby enough to think about it. They don't say, I'm going to go get Game Pass because it's the best deal because I'm such a hardcore gamer that I want to play so many games. These people say, there's a free game. All I need is a box. I got to pick one of the boxes, right? One of the boxes, and then I get to play the free game for as long as I want. PlayStation is still going to get picked a lot.
Yeah,
it may never not get picked. You know what I'm saying? Like there is a version of this, no matter how good Xbox does, that they could just never crack the casual 100%.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit about gaming. Just know the one or two games that they want, and they're just buying the next console that comes out.
And that console is PlayStation.
That's what it is.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's a possibility.
Yeah.
And in that way, like it makes no sense for Sony to just throw away PlayStation.
It wouldn't.
The studios they can throw away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Factually speaking,
which
PlayStation Studios does not need to exist.
Taking place. Like they're literally just plucking them apart, and letting people either shutting down or letting people go. So that's like the follow up. What's left, right? What do you have left? Who do you have in there? How are you going to move forward? But it's true. Like you have all these boxes out there. You're still collecting money from games like Call of Duty. You will collect money from Grand Theft Auto. Freaking, you're banking from an avenue or another, right? So it may not be necessarily your own games because they're not selling, and they're trying to go ahead and crack it. Like Farrell said, if Lego Horizons brings in more than they put out and it's good enough for them, there goes their IP. They're going to go ahead and hop on that wagon. Whatever it sells on Switch will determine how often they go ahead and move forward in that direction where they're going ahead to and put the games directly on the Switch and potentially Xbox to see if they can get that money there too. We're looking at survival mode. And when you're on survival mode, you got to do what you got to do to get by. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah, 'cause
It is.
So
I-
the assumption that things can be static, like anything can. Whoever thought if you were like in the late 80s, early 90s that Nintendo would be supplanted? Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
Even with
course.
Sega coming in, Nintendo was gaming. Like you had a Nintendo. Gaming was Nintendo, right?
Yep.
Then they got supplanted. They got supplanted by PlayStation. Anybody can come and disrupt. It doesn't. If PlayStation doesn't delight, they're going to be in trouble. If Nintendo comes in and says, "Yo, here's our 40 games that are coming out in the next year and a half," and oh, by the way, all those games you want to play that are multi-plat, we got them all. Oh, and you can take them with you. Like that's going to be an interesting sell. And if enough players are like, "Why do I have this thing if it's not giving me anything special?" Like my graphics are good enough on the Nintendo, and I can take it with me. Like, why don't I just buy that instead?
So the only
I
the
have
only
all these other
reason,
games too.
the only thing, Hargy, to keep in mind though, this is a different world, right? And in this world that we live in right now, people are okay 4 years in being a generation behind, right? They're not leaving PlayStation 4, they're not leaving Xbox One. They're sitting pretty. And that's not going to change next generation. It's not.
Exactly.
They're not going to just leave. They're going to stay because the games they like
But
are
that's
there.
not helpful to the PlayStation anymore. There's the problem.
It's not. It's not at all. So the question is, do they even go further, right? Do they just rock with this generation for a long time, let the pro sit, or are they forced to kind of make a PlayStation 6, but not for them, for the studios and the teams, the third parties that want to release their games there, right?
I mean, what if King's right and there is no PlayStation 6? Just because, what else can they do? How do they get players to move?
Yeah.
What's their play?
I mean, the only thing is just the developers, right? I think that over time they're gonna want more, right? So that's why they gotta move forward, right, with another box. They already said that they're making another PlayStation 6.
Another PlayStation.
I mean, unless they're gonna, another PlayStation. Unless they're gonna Concord that shit and spend hundreds of millions of dollars and fucking give up on that shit too. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I think that even if like the pisser didn't sell as they expected, it's just a refresh, right? You go doing
it's all profit.
Yes,
for them with
it's all profit, right? So I think the next one, just like, even if it's to go ahead and kind of just go third party, go sell those
Exactly.
third party
You know what?
games,
That's
you
exactly
still
it.
want that 30% to go ahead and come in, as long as those
as long
games
as the
are
player
out there
base is
still
there.
being made. Just the Call of Duty money alone, you got to go ahead and take a shot and see if you sell enough PlayStation 6s, right? I don't
fair
see
enough.
them. Say that again.
Go ahead, sorry.
I said
No,
fair
it's like
enough.
fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I do think that they're gonna go ahead and push, especially since they did say that they're already working on it.
Yeah. I feel like the next one would be the one that they would be done with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because this generation, obviously,
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 was a wash. Like, it's
It was.
not with sales. I'm talking about the console itself. They've admitted it themselves at this point. Digital Foundry has admitted it multiple times. PlayStation 5 was not it. That is not the sustainable console to keep you going as far as, like power and shit like that. They fucked up. They miscalculated. They thought that they were going to be coming in similar to Xbox, and Xbox says, fucking hold my lunch. I'm going to go ahead and fucking go and release our mid-gen refresh right the fuck now, right? So they caught them off guard, right? You already heard, supposedly someone somewhere brought up the idea that PlayStation's goal is to make like the super powerful console, right? Now, Xbox is talking about, they didn't say most powerful, right? They said the biggest technological leap, right? So that's keywords. They did not say we're looking to make the most powerful, right? So that leads me to believe that we already kind of know, right? Based off the PlayStation 5 Pro, that next gen is going to be less about 100% power in the box, more so what is cloud going to do for that? What is the AI and machine learning? What is that going to do, right? So with all of that, we kind of see that next gen is the one that's really going to be set up for more of a software upgrade right? Versus because obviously PlayStation 5 can't be upgraded, right? To get there because they would have done it, right? They made the pisser because they didn't have anything for machine learning in there, right? So, but obviously that's not going to be that's never going to take off because it's a mid-gen refresh, right? So PlayStation 6 is going to be the one that will, quote unquote, take off enough that's just going to be, I would feel like that would be their last console, because not only that, but now you're talking about, from now, a decade from now, where you don't know where cloud is going to be, where streaming is going to be, where all that shit's going to be, where at a certain point, like no one will need another box. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, think about it right now. If you really want to, right now, if you really want to, and you're not a sweat, right? You're not some dude, excuse me, that has to like, oh my God, I'm every fucking frame per second counts, right? If you're not a sweat, if you have an Xbox One, the first one that you bought back in the day, big ass square box, looked like a VCR.
Yeah.
You, with Game Pass Ultimate, you can play every single new game that Microsoft releases. And once they do this next update where they're letting you play the games you buy, they now have access to every single third-party next-gen game that Microsoft gets a license to or is allowed to sell their game with the cloud for. Like, that is huge. You don't need to move. You keep your box. You pay for the same Game Pass as everybody else. And it looks just as good. You're getting the same upgrades. If they upgrade the streaming capabilities, you're going to see the same upgrade as somebody who's playing that shit locally on their box. We're talking a different world, man. It's going to be a different world. I think PlayStation has this last one. I think that's the one that you settle on. Even if it doesn't sell huge, that's the one you just let sit forever.
We don't like what they're feeding. We don't like what they're doing, but they're still doing things, right? And going ahead and kind of, again, trimming to keep going and figuring out how to move forward, whether that means Lego or just a more budget cuts with their games and kind of trying to conform into what is going to be the look, right? Or what they do moving forward. But the lean on those third-party games it's a big deal for them, and they're still getting that money. So
real quick, completely missed these. So before you go,
we
I
have
completely holy shit, bro. So long.
Sorry.
So sorry, guys. I don't know what happened.
Well, you were in the other section when you were reading and stuff. And
so DJ Bertle Dos, Loose Noob, the homie. Thank you both for being here, man. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Says CMoney, I'm just here to hear Noodle, which I'm assuming is Doodle, say situation. The situation. Says that you call it a situation.
Situation.
When I say it out loud like that, it doesn't sound like it, but maybe that's what it's heard. Gets me every time. Every time someone hit the like button, a pony gets slapped. So hit the like button. Oh shit.
Thank you. Let's go.
Hit it. Let's go. There's enough for you to slap them up at least another 100 times. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Zodiac V3. What's up, man? Thank you for being here. Thank you for that $2 super chat. Says fail chord should have been free to play. That's a lesson.
They can't do it.
Maybe if it was scheduled as free to play from the beginning, like on announcement, like, hey, we're making a new free to play game.
Yeah.
We're going to be bringing out new things all the time, blah, 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 blah. Maybe the problem is that for all intents and purposes, the game went free to play for a week or a weekend, however long that open beta was, right?
Oh, the beta,
and no one showed up for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was their free to play moment. And that's why I guarantee you, after the game got pulled and they're talking about what they're going to do, well, should we go free to play? I guarantee you somebody sat in that fucking chair and said, we already went free to play. We went free to play for that weekend and no one showed up.
Well, look, the reason they have all these is to continue, generating revenue, but also to keep people subscribed to PS Plus. And if they make it free to play, that takes away PS Plus. So I don't know that they'd ever do it. I think they're always going to try to charge.
Agreed. Agreed 100%. And our boy Dan
Dan.
Lazaro, man, thank you again for being here, bro. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Says Herman Heist Herman Heist walked up in Firewalk with a nose full of booger sugar and an industrial sized paper shredder. bleeding, ble- bleeding money out of every orifice. Jesus Christ, Dad. What a
Damn.
I
picture. What a
like
picture.
Herman Heist. I like Herman
Nice.
Heist.
I like that. Herman Heist. That's dope. That was good. That was good.
Crazy.
That was quality. Quality for sure.
Wolf of Wall Street vibes right there.
Yo,
Yes.
facts. Facts.
So I mean, back to
so-
this whole like, what do they do with the console? How things go forward? Like, there is always a potential for things to switch. There's also a loyal fan base, but here's the problem: you're already seeing the people that are not just impulsively, stupidly loyal, the ones that are actually
Yes.
looking for games. They're already calling PlayStation out. Okay, they've been saying that, hey, what the heck are you guys doing? You're not making the games I want. You're doing remaster after remaster. So they're already calling it out. They will start losing those fans if they don't have the content they're looking for, because they can get their gaming on other platforms. And a lot of it's PC. For those who don't see it, it's happening. A lot of people are just moving over to PC, whether you're a PlayStation person or an Xbox person. PC just gives you everything. And it's hard to look at it and say, why not? I can get better frames, I can get better resolution, better tech, and I can upgrade whenever I want to, right?
Yeah.
And I get to
And
buy
everybody
games
has a
really
PC for the
goddamn
most
cheap,
part.
right? It's so what's the downside, right? Oh, I have a digital library. Yeah, those games are like $5. You can get them on Steam on sale so cheap. It's just fine. I'll just buy it again and I get to play it the way I want to, mod it when I want to. It's just a different world. And a lot of people are saying, what do you offer me, PlayStation? Right? If those studios aren't going to put out those same games, and by the way, they are, but even then they go to PC anyway. If they aren't putting those games out, what the heck does PlayStation offer? Because all those multiplats play better on PC. They just do, right? So what are they offering? And that's where things start to break down, right? So if you want a console experience, then it has to give you something differentiated. And if it's not giving you something differentiated, then you're going to go to the one that does.
And that's
the thing.
PlayStation
right?
doesn't offer a really good console experience anymore.
There's the problem, right? So if you look at it from a like, well, why would I be here? Because my friends are here. Because the news cycle says this is the best place to be. Well, if the news cycle says there's no games here, but there are games on Nintendo, there's a shit ton of games on Xbox, where's the news cycle putting you? And that's where things start to change, right? It's just that simple, right? And so we'll see what happens. They continue to try, like we saw with Crimson Desert, right? They go out there and try to lock down games. If that's drying up, because they told them to take a hike, if that's drying up, what happens?
This guy.
What happens? Why would you want to be on that platform? This is where it starts to break down, right? And I understand the brand is very, very good right now, but that can very easily change. The media can immediately change when they see like 3/4 of the games we're reviewing are on Xbox and Nintendo. We can't shit on them anymore.
Yeah,
we just can't. And then what happens? What happens at that point? It's like, how do I keep waiting for 5 years for the next PlayStation game? Like, no. All the while, I have 10 games coming in from Xbox this year. I have another 10 games from Nintendo this year. That's just the way it's going to be. So I don't know. Things could change rapidly. We don't know, right? So yes, they have high brand recognition now, but they could seriously screw it up. It's up to them to fix it. Good luck.
Yeah, where's Xbox's brand recognition if they buy one more publisher?
Imagine they do buy Take-Two. Imagine they buy Take-Two. Are you going to pile on them too?
That'd be crazy.
Are you going to pile on them? Are you going to seriously? GTA sucks now. Good luck.
And just think, if
It's
they
true.
release a new console in 2026 or a handheld, that's giving you even that much more incentive to go to Xbox's ecosystem if you're on Team Blue at the moment. Like, no roadmap definitely leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And right now, the best that they got to look forward to is Ghost of Yotai in 25. Hopefully, it makes that cut line. But if it doesn't, fair games it is for 2025 for first party. And
Is that a lot? Is anything in PlayStation's first party portfolio a lock right now?
MLB.
No,
MLB will be
no,
there.
I don't believe that.
I'm talking about as
Yeah.
far as release date goes.
No,
No,
just
nothing
just
on
those
pretty
two
cool.
or release years.
Yeah, but MLB will be there. But
Yeah,
beyond
that's the
that,
only lock. That's the only lock. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
anything else, it's like we'll see. I personally don't believe in that Ghost coming out next year. And if it does, the conditions, we'll see. We'll see what
I
they
don't
put
even
out.
know when Baby Steps is coming.
Right? Listen,
I
you
think
and me
that shit
both.
died too, bro.
I'm waiting for the update.
He's stuck in the mud.
Things are going so bad that fucking games are being killed that are not made by PlayStation. People are just like, fuck. We were
This is
making this
not a
shit for
new
them.
freaking thing.
Kill it.
PlayStation's been doing really shitty for quite a bit now, and they're still just, moving all along, and everybody's pretending this is not taking place.
PlayStation
So,
died when they said they weren't coming to E3 anymore. That was the beginning of it.
They immediately showed how little they cared about the people,
yep.
the gamers, right? They showed you right there at that moment that they gave more shit about the money they were spending than for the excitement of the gamers, right? That showed what they cared about the industry from the gamers' perspective, right? E3 was fucking Super Bowl for gamers, right? Like we had a week of craziness, right? That was just like boom, boom, info, new game, holy shit. And then they did it. I understand why the third party publishers did it, right? Like EA pulled out. Why? Because they want to showcase their games on their own space. They don't want to get buried. I understand that, right? But that was never a problem.
For the
Never a
platform
problem for
holders.
first party.
Yeah.
Never. Platform holders never get buried. Never. No matter what it was, they were the talk of the fucking town. Next day, morning, night, next day, boom, 3 people. Bam, bam, bam. Fucking glorious. And it brought like this excitement that just it would never be replicated. Now, we have on Xbox side a similar excitement because they've made it where they have so much that they can show us and so much shit that they have going on all the time that we are kind of satiated. You know what I'm saying? Like we have our fill of shows and shit that we get to see and be excited for throughout the whole fucking year with Xbox. I don't know. If I was a PlayStation only dude, come on, man. How do you have fun? What's exciting about this fucking the games, I get it, but if you cared only about the games, then you wouldn't be a PlayStation only dude, right? Like if you're a
True.
pony and you only cared about just the games in general, then you wouldn't be
If you number
Royal
2,
Boyle, what's up, fam? Go ahead.
It was number 2 on the sales charts for the
Oh
month.
yeah.
Oh,
Number 2. Look at CMoney. And look, it's number 2. You look. They fucking spent all that time editing clips and showing it and passing it along to so many people who saw it, only to still get no answer. How much did it sell? How much did it sell? If
Still don't
Sony
know.
was so pumped about being number 2 in the UK, or no, you number 2 everywhere for the month, right? That's what they said, right? Okay, number 2, or only in US. Is that what it is? That's
Yeah, I think it was
US
US
numbers.
Yeah, I think it was US.
Okay, that's US, not the UK, US. So only US, number 2, right? If they were so pumped about that, how come they didn't come out and say nothing, right? How come we know for a fact that in April, the game that got substantially less of a Metacritic score, Stellar Blade, was number 1 for the month. Yet, still only sold 1 million copies. If that. So if they only sold 1 million copies and they were number 1, the fuck you think Astrobot sold at number 2? I'm
damn.
just saying, I don't make this shit up. This is your squad. Your squad who gave us numbers on Spider-Man, your squad that gave us numbers on Gears of War. This is your squad. they stay quiet when the shit don't fly. What other game did we see that had something similar happen? I don't know. Maybe motherfucking Concord that's fucking dead now.
Concord, Rise of Ronin.
Come on, man. Rise of the Ronin. What? It was so successful. Then why do we have reports that we're going to talk about where it wasn't successful? Interesting. It's weird. It's weird. Spartan 61 says it. It's a DLC turned into a video game like Miles Morales. Facts. Right? It's just what it is, man. It's their narrative that they don't like being put against them. But it's their fault. Nobody told them to do it.